Hey everyone, it's Dinah, and we are back with Marvel Studios' Moon Knight. This time on to episode number 2. You can probably tell by my voice and my overall haven't been feeling too well for the past few days. I think I had a whole plan for this week, was going to get through so many videos, was going to record a bunch, going to edit a bunch, and just get things back on track, and then my body was just like, no, you thought wrong. My body and health, my body and its health did not feel like cooperating at all, so I spent the weekend just bedridden, and then even the first few days of this new week, just haven't really kind of felt able to do much at all. But I thought, you know what, this one, I think, it's kind of getting there because I chose to rest as opposed to push myself through anything. But with this one, I thought, let's just get it out of the way so I can actually be that much less fearful of spoilers and just to make sure I actually have it out of the way and actually get it up maybe by the weekend or something. But I guess we'll see. So yeah, everything I wanted to get done, like in the earlier stages of this week, just haven't happened because my body said no. So yeah, and I can even hear my own voice. I'm still definitely my throat definitely is still pretty kind of sore and pretty rough. So not the best sign of recovery or well health or condition at all. So yeah, that's how I'm doing. But yeah, regardless, we are back for Moon Knight for episode 2. Last week was the series premiere and it was really good. It was a solid introduction, a really good first episode. We met Oscar Isaac as both Stephen Grant and Mark Spector as well, and he's the main character. He's the guy with dissociative identity disorder. He has two different identities that kind of blip in and out of one another. And I think Mark Spector is the mercenary, and then Stephen Grant is the lovely, wholesome museum gift shop employee that the internet has collectively decided that they would all die for, which only makes sense. So yeah, he's just a perfectly nice, normal guy. He loves ancient Egyptian mythology. He's a huge fanboy of it, and he really badly wants to be a tour guide, but then he's stuck being a gift shop employee and checking inventory and everything. So there's that. And he tried to get a date, didn't work because he blipped out and ended up in another country. And then by the time he came back, it was already 2 days afterwards, and the woman had already moved on. So things don't always go his way because of his DID. Things don't always go his way. He even has different safety measures in his home, like the locks on the door, and chaining himself to the bedpost and everything. So he tries different things and they don't always kind of work out or anything. So there's that. And then yeah, and I think he has memory loss too because of his DID. He blips, and now he doesn't remember anything he's done, but then he just remembers that, like he wakes up in different places. Sometimes, like, he woke up on the bus and in another country with a dislocated jaw and everything, so he wakes up in different places and he doesn't know how he got there. And then, of course, when he's in trouble, like with the other mercenaries, he does blip out, blip out into Mark, and then Mark handles them, and then he comes back, and he's just kind of, the situation's resolved, and he's covered in blood and all that kind of stuff. So there's that. But yeah, Stephen is the kind of perfectly innocent little bean that people have very easily fall in love with. So there's him. And then, of course, there's Mark Spector as well, who's the mercenary. And yeah, I think he's the one with the American accent. He's the one that where he's the kind of role where Oscar gets to use his American accent. He's the mercenary, he's the fighter, he's the survivor and everything. And yeah, I mean, people have kind of theorized that maybe Mark is actually the original identity. Like Mark is the original identity that the body originally had and was born with and actually lived with until whatever happened, and he actually moved to London and came up with an alias, or like actually his identities kind of splintered off, and then one stayed as Stephen Grant, one stayed as Mark Spector, but then one became Stephen Grant and everything, and even because I think I like going back into the episode too. It definitely feels a bit more like Mark has more of a history to him than Stephen does. Like Stephen definitely seems like the isolated identity, living in London and actually doing this job and doing all that kind of stuff. But then even Arthur first recognized him as a mercenary in Germany too. Like he actually called him mercenary and everything, so he recognized him as such, and even thought, oh, I thought Stephen Grant was going to be an alias of yours, but then it seems like you're actually living in London as this person, and you really don't know who you are. And then with the phone too, he found the phone in his apartment that allowed him to get in touch with Layla, and even she recognized him initially as Mark too. So I think I think quite a few signs in there point towards Mark being the original one, and then maybe he actually, I think based on how we've had DID in the TV shows before too, like in Iron Fist season 2, I think Alice Eve's character, I think originally, I think I can't remember I can't remember all the details about her character now, but I think initially I think she did mention like her alternate identity actually allowing her and helping her to survive during Sokovia. So I think in that one, her mercenary was the original one, but then she splintered off into someone else in season 2 and actually became the more innocent and sweeter character that even Danny recognized later on too. So I think it's been explored like it's been explored like a little bit before in the shows too, but I think that's the pretty much like the extent of it. And then we met Khonshu as well, the Egyptian god of the presumably the moon that actually imbues Stephen with its powers and everything. Actually gives him the identity of Moon Knight. I think I've heard there's another one where he actually has the mask. Or at least one where he actually shows the eyes and then they're not glowing and white and everything, but then he also wears a suit. And apparently that one's called Mr. Knight. So I think people are saying that one might be like Moon Knight is when Steven gets the power, is when Mark gets the powers and he becomes the kind of fighter hero and everything. But then Mr. Knight is what happens when Steven gets the powers of Moon Knight. And he's actually Mr. Knight. He's actually just like a regular dude, and he kind of like he's not as much of a fighter, but then he actually does something else. So really curious to actually know what that one's all about. And I think Jake Lockley is another identity that's potentially on the horizon here. I think Jake might be the taxi driver. I think there's another identity of his in the comics where he's actually a cab driver. And I think that one might be Jake Lockley. And then there's the other one where he's a rich Billy, like he's a billionaire essentially. So he's got a few. He's got quite a few. So I think really looking forward to seeing how many of those they adapt into this series and how they pull them off and everything. So it'll be good. It'll be good to actually be introduced to them and get to know them when the time comes. So that'll be fun. And then Arthur Harrow, the cultist, the one with the kind of devotion and connection to Amit as well, the goddess. I think the goddess of judgment and everything. Like she judges the bogeyman for evildoers, as he stated. Like the kind of judge, jury, and executioner of any sinners or potential sinners, like even that old woman who died because there was evil in her future. So he is intent on bringing her back and actually making her kind of bring about Judgment Day and all that kind of stuff. So curious to know how he plays into all this down the line. And yeah, there was a bunch of other stuff too, like the voicemail, the goldfish, and just like a few other tidbits that really played well into the episode. So it was fun to see them all come together. But yeah, that's pretty much all I've got from this one. So yeah, on to episode number 2 of Moon Knight season 1. So yeah, let's go.
It's like Area 51, like MI6 bonkers, bro.
Yeah. All right, mate. You ready?
Yeah, that's one way to describe turning into a freaking Egyptian superhero.
Oh yeah, Anna the Baskervilles was it?
Egyptian jackal. It was a jackal.
A jackal, Egyptian jackal. Okay, yeah, that name rings a bell, so I can finally tie that to the appearance.
Still you, bruv.
Is that Mark though? That's got to be Mark, right?
That's not me.
That's Mark. No, that's Mark Spector. That's him. Yeah. So even if he's dressed as Moon Knight in real life, the camera only picks him up as Mark. Oh, that's good. That's good. Would it not? I think Arthur was nowhere to be found.
I know this is classic HR to say, but you're not alone.
Oh.
Yeah, it's like part of the problem, isn't it?
Oh God. Is he on suspension? Like he can't be fired, right? I think if they're referring him, then I think he must have to be on suspension, right? Oh, there's QR code and everything. That's cool. Artifacts or belongings. Is this gonna be Mark stuff? Maybe Mark put his stuff away. Oh, this definitely looks like it's Mark stuff. Like different clothes, like mercenary equipment.
Oh my God.
What is it? Oh, a gun. Oh, a gun. Oh, weapons then. Weapons. Okay. Like maybe like an emergency kit. Oh yeah, money, guns, yeah, cash, passport. Yeah, this is like a you know.
Mark Spector.
Yeah, this is his original identity. This is who he was first.
You're gonna take a nice nap. Are you joking? Sleep. I'm never gonna go to sleep again. You hear me? Look, I don't care how bloody handsome you are. Tell me what it is you are.
Oscar Isaac complimenting himself.
I serve Khonshu. I'm his avatar.
Oh, he's Khonshu's
That means you
avatar.
are too.
Ah.
Sort of. Protect the vulnerable and deliver Khonshu's justice.
Okay.
Khonshu. I eat one piece of steak and then bam, I go.
This is why he wishes he stayed vegan.
Now give me the body. Let me finish this, and you'll never hear from me again.
Oh,
You
he's
want
even
my
talking through the
body?
gun. Damn, the reflection of the gun.
Yeah, Mark, how about this for a deal?
Khonshu's a cum. Oh, damn. Oh, this is some horror movie level shit. Oh, there he is. The god of the moon. Oh, freeze frame.
Mark? Where have
Layla? Layla. Layla.
you
Layla.
been?
Okay.
Gone. Is that okay? Yeah, I'm still your wife.
Oh, she's the wife.
By
Okay.
the way, this would be a
Oh,
great
Mark
time
and
for you to
Layla.
say something.
Great. Okay.
Anything.
Can she? I think she can't talk to Mark, can I? Unless he comes out. Can she? No.
No, this is my mum's flat.
Okay,
Alright, his
so you
mum.
guys are talking again?
Wait, his mum's real? His mum's real? Well, at least Mark has a mother. Mark has a mother.
Je suis triste, je voudrais m'éteindre.
French poetry.
Sans toi,
Oh,
c'est la nuit sans
she knows
toi.
it too.
She's my favourite poet.
No, she's my favorite.
That's mental.
So Mark shares some of his memories of Layla with Stephen.
You sent these papers, but you never signed them.
Did I?
Divorce papers? Oh, Mark wanted
Divorce.
divorce papers, yeah. Mark wanted to save her from all of this.
I would never divorce you.
Even Stephen's already in love with her.
What are you doing?
You seem absolutely lovely. This Mark, on the other hand, is a right twit. Yeah. I don't know how to explain what's been happening.
I'm supposed to believe anything you say with this shoved in a gym bag.
Take it. Take it. You can have it. Take it. Take it. I don't want it. I don't want it. I swear. Have it. I am not Mark Spector.
Gosh.
I'm Stephen Grant. I work in a gift shop. And I think I'm in real danger. And I think maybe that you might be the only person that can help me.
DC Fitzgerald and DC Kennedy here.
Yeah, one.
Nah, check the peephole. Check the peephole.
Mind if we come in, Mr. Grant?
Oh, you know, actually, that right. Appreciate
Oh, God.
Anyone else here with you?
Oh, they're gonna find the bag full of the money and all the passports and everything. No, I don't trust them. I don't trust them. They gotta be here because of the scarab. They've gotta be.
What's this? It's a paperweight.
Where'd you get it?
Paperweight shop.
Paperweight shop. Could have said gift shop. You know, you do work in one. Oh yeah, no, they're looking for Layla. They're looking for Layla. Yeah. Oh damn, she made it onto the roof. Oh, please be careful.
A stolen item.
Don't check the bag. Nah, don't check the bag, you tosser.
Mark Spector was part of a team of mercenaries that hit a dig site in Egypt. Here's what they did to the archaeologists. Zip-tied and shot in the back of the head. Execution style.
Wow. This doesn't look like the station.
I thought we were going to the police station.
Ah, meat. The tattoo.
Take that.
The tattoo scale. The tattoo. The scale tattoo.
Khonshu chose you as his avatar because your mind would be so easy to break, or because it was broken already?
Not broken. Just need some help, maybe.
That's right. That's why I'm here.
No, you're not. You just want the scarab.
This neighborhood used to have the highest crime rate in all the city. So much suffering, so much pain. Good evening. Good evening.
Oh, did he recruit everyone? Did he?
It was truly heartbreaking.
He recruited everyone
No.
into his little
People
cult.
don't lock their doors at night. They feel safe.
I only punish those who have already done harm.
Ah.
And real justice.
Ah. So he's the polar opposite of our meat.
Can you hear him?
Was this stuff he's heard before?
I was his former avatar.
Oh.
Before you, I was the fist of vengeance.
He was vengeance.
She tears evil up from the root, casting her judgment before any evil's done.
Well, isn't that a bit dodgy, like trusting the judgment of a weird crocodile lady?
You don't need. Ahmed will light the path to good by eradicating the choice of evil.
Do not give Layla up.
God, in every reflection,
If Ahmed judges people pre-evil, like before the fact, then isn't she judging an innocent person? I mean, a thought can't be evil, can it?
That's a good point.
I think about killing my boss all the time. I don't actually do it.
Stephen.
What about a child? Would she kill a child for something they might do in 30 years?
The age-old
You
discussion.
mentioned that. The difference between medicine and poison sometimes is only dosage.
Oh, that's a good
See,
line. That's a good
diseased
line.
limb.
You're all into that, like killing children and that.
Yeah.
Maybe that's just me, but I kind of draw a line there. Child murder.
Any reasonable person would. Yeah.
Sliver of her power.
Oh no. Why is it glowing?
I don't want to use it.
Why is it glowing? Can it kill?
I don't.
Then don't.
Then don't. Oh, she's got it. Oh, she's got it. She's still got it. She's got it. She's got it. Oh, is he summoning his own suit? Is he summoning our meat? He's gonna become a crocodile. I think Stephen called her a weird crocodile lady. Oh, Abby's coming. She's coming. Abby's coming.
I'm going to die on Evil Magician's Man Cave.
Your name is Mark.
Oh gosh. He doesn't want to hurt people, but he has to survive. He's got to survive. So, oh, Mr. Knight. Oh, that's Mr. Knight. Yeah, he actually summoned an actual suit to fucking 3-piece or 2-piece or whatever.
Much worse. What the hell are we wearing? She said I needed a suit. Ceremonial armor from Conch's temple. Colonel Sanders. This shit works, man.
Oh, he's got sticks. He's got batons. He's got batons.
Pretty cool, actually.
Suit. Oh, he's still got strength. He still has strength. He still has powers. Oh, Jesus.
Get away from her, you!
Get away from her, you.
I see you, you plug ugly. You're in the wrong ends, mate. You're in my yard now. Come on.
Oh god, Oscar Isaac using British slang. Oh. Jeez. Can people see him? Yeah, people can see him dressed as Mr. Knight, right?
You got planted!
Fancy drunk, yeah. Oh gosh. No one's gonna mention the glowing eyes, really. Oh boy. Just another night in London. Just another night in London, yeah.
Take control. For now.
For now. For now. Oh, here comes the Moon Knight. Here comes the Moon Knight, yeah. Oh, here he comes. Here he is. Oh. Oh, it looks so cool. Oh, such a good shot. Such a good shot. Oh, the music is so good. God. This looks so great. Oh, this looks so great. Oh, even the suit is so cool.
Come on. Gotcha.
Oh, got him. Oh, jeez, impaled him. Oh, that was good. Oh. The night in the light of the moon. Oh, he's so good. He's so good. Oh, guy's bad. He was willing to commit. I don't know. Would that be thievery? Because he found on the floor? Well, I don't know. Maybe there's some other evil.
Most of the time it'll take all your willpower just to be a fly on the wall. You can't do this. Keeping me trapped in here, you have no right. I can't go on a bloody date. I can barely keep a goldfish alive. I lost my job. It's been you. It's always been you. He wants her as my replacement, and I'm never gonna let that happen. You hear me?
You lie. I don't
Stephen, you
believe you. I
know what
don't
you're
trust
talking
anything
about.
you say. But I'm never going to let you hurt
Just shut
anyone
up.
else ever again. Do
Stephen,
you hear
shut
me?
up.
I
Just
will
shut
never
up.
give you
Stop
a
it.
moment.
Stephen, shut up. I promise.
Oh gosh. Gosh.
You think you own this body? It belongs to me.
We'll find the scarab. We'll get to Ahmed's tomb first.
You know I'll protect you with everything I have. You are worth protecting.
I'll do whatever it takes then.
Only Mark is
Then
worth
let me
protecting because
go.
he's the one with the
I
power.
know that you enjoy the work I have for you.
Where is this? Definitely not the UK, it's way too sunny for that. He's in Egypt, he's in Egypt. Finding Amit's tomb. Finding Amit's tomb. Oh. Oh, damn. Let's start with the credits music too. When did I start with the credits music? Okay, I'm back. Yeah, 3 days, I think, 3 or 4 days after I actually watched the episode, because I realized like halfway through the episode I could not do the entire video like usual, like reaction and review in one sitting, so I did the reaction, and that's why this video is that much later, because usually I'd be able to do it at least, you know, a day or two after I actually watch the thing and then make the video, and then, you know, I'd have it up and everything, but, you know, I decided not to strain my body too much, you know, a bit of actual sensibility and some actual self-care going on, so I decided to wait a few days, and now I'm finally back, and now I can stand again, so, you know, it's still kind of there, but just in like a much more minor sense, and then now my voice sounds arguably better. It's still not the best, but arguably better. So yeah, things are slightly better now. So now I can actually record with a bit more energy, and then end with a bit more kind of, you know, a lot less like I'm literally crawling through, you know, just smoke or something. So yeah, like I said, it's still there, but it's just not as bad as it was before. So, you know, quite like I expected it to once it started. It took me almost an entire week to actually get through it. So that's, you know, 1 week I'm probably never going to get back. So yeah, either way, great episode, a great second episode, a great second episode that packed in a lot more than I expected, a lot more than I actually kind of anticipated it would, because I think usually it's not really until, at least with the previous Marvel shows, it's not usually until it gets a bit further in, like the third or fourth episode, that things really start kicking up a notch, and they really kind of, you know, blow your mind a little bit. And not to say that the coming episodes can't be even bigger either. I think, you know, so far, you know, it's been big, but I think, you know, so far I didn't think it would get this big this quickly. So I think, yeah, I thought we'd probably have to wait until the third episode to actually really get the big kind of guns rolling on it or something. So again, that could still very much happen, but with this one, a lot more happened in this than I expected. So that was still fun, still a super cool experience. But yeah, this time we had, so yeah, I think I didn't even utilize the second page. I just, you know, me being me, I didn't even condense. I crammed everything into one page, and now I don't know where paragraphs end or begin. So bear with me on this one. I think a cool thing for them to open up with was not only Stephen investigating Mark being on the camera, or at least Moon Knight being on the camera, but then I think, for one thing, the fact that Moon Knight doesn't even show up. Because I mean, I'm actually kind of wondering, in the Mr. Knight fight scene, when Stephen was dressed up as Mr. Knight, people clearly saw him, and that was through like a naked eye view, like that was in real time, in real life as well. So I think people clearly saw him dressed up in the suit with the mask and everything, and they probably saw him suiting up as Moon Knight in that kind of instance too. So, you know, I think, so then that makes you wonder, like, you know, like, did Moon Knight not show up on the camera, or was it that, you know, because I think we only saw him transforming in the bathroom, in the actual restroom. So I think we only saw him transforming then. So makes you wonder, like, maybe he that being Stephen too, because that being Mark as well, because then Stephen let Mark in, and then Mark being the Avatar, as we find out he's the Avatar for Khonshu. He's the one imbued with the power and with the suit, the ceremony. I think what he called the ceremonial robes from Khonshu's temple or something. So he's the one with the powers and the suit and everything. So then maybe then after he's dealt with the jackal, then after that he actually transforms back into himself, and then he just becomes Mark again. But then he stays as Mark. He stays as Mark until he gets back home. Then he goes to sleep, and then he allows Stephen to wake up as himself. So it was kind of curious that only Mark would show up. But then I think that might be the reason. So then he transforms back and everything. But then of course Mark, knowing that Stephen being Stephen, he might just just about try and look for proof that the events of last night were real, and then he might even try and show someone. So then he can't afford that. So then Mark not only shows himself exiting the museum on the camera, but then he actually does the thing. He looks in. He stops and looks into the camera and pauses and be like, "No, you can't do this, Stephen. Okay, I saved your life, but that means I gotta use you to cover for me too. I gotta try and cover up my own tracks and actually cover up what I'm really doing here as well." So he did gonna send that little sneaky subtle little message through his kind of eyes of death at the camera. So that was fun. And I trust that Stephen has. I think he did say he'd been sacked. I think I actually did manage to get the reaction kind of edited before doing this. I think I actually that did, as per usual, actually did give me the chance to go back through the episode and actually pick up on stuff I missed out on. And I think he did mention in his his apartment flat, whatever, he didn't mention to Layla he'd been sacked. So I think up until then, I was thinking, oh, he might just be suspended. I mean, sure, there was significant property damage. I think that kind of damage at the hands of one employee would probably warrant like some kind of a sacking or like a firing or something. But then I thought, with him being the way that he is, I thought, oh, maybe like suspension with or without pay. But also because the fact that they actually kind of gave him that kind of brochure thing too, like that brochure for mental health and everything. So that I thought, like firing him, but then also giving him that seems like a bit of like a shoulder barge or something, like actually barging him out the door, but then actually giving him like the help that they think he needs and everything. Because then it's like it's also like a mental health thing, like a mental health brochure in general. I don't think it really kind of pointed anywhere in particular. So I think it's just like the way they look at it. They think he's got issues, and then either as a way of being like, oh, if you want to come back here, then you got to have your issues sorted, or maybe even as like a way of like trying to avoid like discriminating or something. Then maybe they just like, oh, we still care about you, so go get the help you need, and then good luck in whatever your future endeavors are or something. So I don't know, but either way, he got sacked for it. And then I think even that scene too, them like even the guy being like, oh, I know this is a typical HR response, but you're not alone, you got people, you got resources, you can talk to people, they can help you and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I think Stephen, I can't help but wonder like how many times because I think Stephen is also shown to be the kind of guy who takes precautions for himself too. He chains himself to the bed, he has the sand around the door, he has the locks on the door, like he takes as many human precautions as he can, and stuff still ends up happening. So I think with him, I kind of want like if he has actually seen anyone, or if he has that, or if he kind of has just or if he has just kind of been told too many times in his life, like, oh, you're not alone, this will go away, or you just need help, or you just need to do this, that, or the other, or something. So because then even his line to Arthur in that one scene too, like Arthur being like, oh, did is your mind broken because Khonshu's inside, or did Khonshu choose your mind because it was so broken already? But then Stephen insisted, like Stephen himself being like, I'm not broken, I just need a little bit of help. And I think that coming from him as well is honestly, to me personally, I think that's also like the kind of like one of the most kind of heartwarming things he could have said. Because I think I think I personally can't help but question like if that's coming from like a place of actual tiredness, like people kept telling him he was broken, or people kept telling him that there was actually something severe, like people dramatizing it, or people actually kind of blowing it out of proportion, or even like not taking him seriously, or whatever, or maybe it was actually him kind of actually like feeling like he himself was broken, but then he had to actually break out of that cycle himself and actually kind of say like, I'm not broken. There's nothing, dangerous about me, like in that sense, even though he does literally try and transform into like a mercenary, and then he's capable of actually hurting people that way, but then he's still like, I'm not broken, I just need a little help. So, coming from him, I think it definitely kind of does kind of stand to mean a lot, and it definitely can stand like his own kind of ground that way too. So it was good to hear it kind of coming from him, as opposed to someone else too, because I think I think it coming from his own self defense, I feel like it kind of sounds like it could mean more coming from him. I mean, personally, I'm in no position to actually judge whether or not it's an authentic representation, or like an authentic kind of portrayal of that kind of condition. I'm in no position to kind of say whether it's accurate or not. I think I've done some very, very kind of brief googling here and there, but that's pretty much it. I think there's still a lot more I could learn, and a lot more I hope to learn about it. But for the most part, I feel like I think they're definitely kind of doing it in a way that like it definitely still feels like it's not a story that's harmful, and I think they're not portraying it in a way that's harmful. Like, they're not trying to vilify him in any way. I think especially like the way that Oscar is portraying it too. Like, like he's portraying it as like Stephen being the most innocent, most human, most grounded character there is. But then Mark is the one with the history. He's the one with the deal with Khonshu. He's the one with the history as a mercenary. He's the one with the knowledge of exactly why Stephen keeps getting into trouble with all these people, and why he suddenly kind of like person of interest and everything, or all of a sudden. But with Stephen, it's like, I think Stephen like just about has knowledge of actually what's going on with him, I think he like doesn't know exactly what goes on when he blacks out, but he just knows like so sometimes he blacks out in kind of like in random places, and then he wakes up in like an even more random place, and then sometimes and then he knows that like the stuff that keeps happening to him warrants him taking all these kind of personal security measures in his home, and actually trying to keep himself stable and keep himself kind of confined and everything. But then he doesn't know the full extent of what's going on, and now this is the first time he meets the other person in his head, the one that's actually making him do all these things and making him wake up in random places. So yeah, I think Oscar's portrayal of that too, like Stephen and Mark in conversation too, that kind of stuff was just so well balanced out, and so well kind of like that kind of bounce back of him portraying two different characters was just so well balanced and so well kind of executed and everything. Like Stephen like insisting that like he wants everything to go back to normal, he wants his life back, he wants to like stop having to worry about all this kind of stuff. But then Mark kind of knowing what's at stake, and knowing like his deal with Khonshu, and knowing how close he is, and how like imperative it is that he actually completes this, and how important it is for him and for Layla too. Like, he just like says like on the one hand you got the guy who just wants to live his life. On the other hand, you got the guy who actually knows what's coming and knows what's at stake, and it's like those two kind of conflicting worldviews and everything, like really kind of like coming in and actually throwing each other off balance, and throwing the entire character off balance is a really interesting thing to kind of see. So yeah, that kind of thing is really interesting. So yeah, and I think I'm trusting cinematography is the right word to use here. But I really do love the cinematography of those kind of interactions too, like especially like the kind of conversations he has with his own reflection of Mark being the one in the reflection too, but then the way the reflections are done too, to begin with, it's the most obvious ones, like in the mirrors, but then even in the storage unit too, where with the mirror being still as kind of differential as it is, like reflecting what's inside the room, but then still kind of being kind of dimmer and kind of being a bit more blurry, but it still captures Mark, so he's still able to talk. And then even the reflection of the freaking gun barrel, the actual barrel of the gun, like it actually kind of shows his face through there, even with that being all stretched and distorted and blurry and everything. The reflection of the inside of the bowl, like they find any possible reflection they can, even the more kind of even like the ones you wouldn't think, like I think they're also showing it like it just has to be like an actual passing reflection too, like it doesn't have to be crystal clear like a mirror or like a window or like and they also like even something like something even like even vaguely reflective too, like a mirror, maybe like some water, or like even like a cracked piece of glass too, like anything that can actually hold that reflection even slightly can still work. So I think that kind of those kind of shots and that kind of framing really works in their favor to actually to tell the story there, to actually tell the story in that way, and that tensely and everything. So that really works. But yeah, now Steven is the one stuck inside. Steven is the one actually stuck inside the mirror too, and he was like, he was in there for what, like 5 minutes, and he already hated it. He already said, like, I really don't like this. I want to come out now. But then Mark was now in control of the body. I think even Mark mentioned, like, like before there was a war between them that allowed some distance and some kind of severance between Mark and Steven and everything, but now something's changed. So now, like, now whoever's in control of the body is the one who's wrong. And I think it's because of the fact that now like we personally have seen that Steven has now become more prone to letting Mark through, even temporarily. Because I think in the first episode it was blipping in and out here and there. Like in the first one, it was more like I think. I'm not entirely sure if it would be wrong to say that it would actually be his kind of survival instincts and his fight or flight mode kicking in, but then Mark being the fighter, him then kind of veering Steven more towards fight, and then that kind of allowing him to come through, do what needs to be done, and then he kind of gets pulled back out again because of that kind of connection difference and everything between them. So then he gets the job done, and then Steven kind of comes back in to see the aftermath and everything. So I think because of that, and also at the very end too, at the very end of the first episode, like he does pretty much kind of convince Steven to willingly give up control. So I think because of that, I think when like willpower is involved in giving up control, I think like that makes like a person that much more vulnerable to the kind of partnering forces too. So I think because of that, like I think the first time he did it, I think that kind of strengthened the kind of like the bond between them, but then also kind of weakened down the walls too. So then I think the more he did it willingly, the more kind of it gave power to him, and then of course the final time it showed like an actual much more kind of a much more kind of like a lengthy kind of transfer of power too. So then I think that then should, because then the body is also like the tool of the mind, and then vice versa too. Like the mind is the tool of the body, and the body is the tool of the mind. So then like Mark's sentence there kind of made sense too. Like now how whoever's in control of the body is the one that's actually in control more kind of vividly and more powerfully and everything. So then because of that, Steven was back stuck inside his head and everything, and then Mark was in control, so then he could easily confer with Khonshu and everything. So now Steven is out. I think I didn't catch it watching the episode, but catching it back in the edit too, when like in that final scene when they're in that Egyptian kind of room, in like the hotel or whatever, I think Steven in the reflection is sat on the bed, huddled in a towel and everything. He's sat on the bed with like the mirror showing off his reflection is slightly cracked in the corner, which shows that it's similar to the previous scene in the graveyard or whatever. He actually did try and break the mirror. So I think he has like tried to kind of tamper with the kind of connection he has through mirrors with Steven, but I think it still showed Steven sat on the bed, whereas with Mark in real life, him being the one in control, he sat on the floor next to the bed, kind of wearing a lot less clothes and kind of drinking and everything. So that kind of parallel was really cool to see. So that was really fun. So now now Steven is inside. He's trapped inside his own mind, and he has to watch Mark use his body. And especially like what he especially like kind of feels is his body too, because even his lines kind of indicated that he, like him being like, oh, this is my body. You have no right to possess this. You have no right to use my body to do all these kind of horrifying things and to do all these things. And because he found out from the police report that even Mark way back when was a merc, and he killed all those kind of archaeologists at the dig site and everything. So he's done things that are really kind of shady and really kind of sus looking and everything. So yeah, so now going forward, now we're gonna have to see Steven kind of like forcing himself to kind of watch or even look away as Mark kind of continues to do some stuff with his body. So yeah, it's going to be like a really kind of tricky thing to actually navigate. I think even as a viewer, I think it's definitely going to be like an actual really kind of tricky kind of story to navigate. But I feel like it could definitely kind of offer up some interesting kind of talking points. So. And then, yeah, we find out a bit more about Mark's kind of backstory in relation to Khonshu, so that he is Khonshu's avatar. I think he's his current one. He's the current avatar, because then we find out who the former one before him was, and that Was none. I mean, well, he was the former one, but I think I'm not. I mean, with the age difference, it might be possible that he was directly former. But then I think for me, I think the clarification is still up in the air. But I think, as far as we know, one of the former avatars for Khonshu was also Arthur. Arthur actually used to be Khonshu's avatar before he moved on to being Meat's avatar. So then after him, either directly or sometime after him, as presently comes Mr. Mark Spector. So. And I think even his speech kind of talked about serving justice to the innocent and protecting the vulnerable, and actually using Khonshu's power to actually become the Moon Knight and to protect people and to protect innocence and everything. So yeah, I mean, so far we haven't really seen a whole lot of vigilantism from him lately. I think so far the most kind of combative and kind of crime fighting thing we've seen is him protecting himself and Layla from a jackal. So not to say that's not worth anything, but then still, it's even so far, his first kind of combat we've seen is him literally taking on a jackal, and then afterwards, and now even going forward, now he still has the personal mission to Khonshu to actually complete and everything. So yeah, really am looking forward to seeing if and when he actually gets a chance to actually save civilians or even fight actual human bad guys as Moon Knight and everything, and seeing how they fight. Because again, his whole thing about fighting bad guys is that he wears white in the light of the moon so that they can see him coming, because then they still can't stop him. So I'm really looking forward to actually seeing that whole kind of that mentality and that kind of form of approaching them and actually fighting them, kind of coming to life and everything. So should be fun. And I think I did. It was mentioned in the episode too by Khonshu. I think I actually did see people kind of in reaction on social media. I think people posted reference pictures from the comics too, and I think they have carried that backstory over of Khonshu having found Mark all bloody and beaten and injured and everything, and essentially on the verge of death, and then he saved him by reviving him and giving him that power, and but then that as that kind of a story arc would go, he found him, he revived him, but then he gave him new purpose. He rebirthed him into the world as his avatar, as his Moon Knight and everything. So yeah, so I think Steven, I think I'm kind of wondering maybe if that could have been connected to the dig site too, because then I think if it's from the dig site, then I think maybe it's it either led to the Scarab, or actually kind of could have been connected to the Scarab in some way, or maybe even connected to Khonshu in some way, because I mean they're both gods. Khonshu and Amit are both a part of the actual pantheon of Egyptian gods too. Don't know if they're part. I think they might be part of the Ennead, because I think in the first episode, I think I was about to say Oscar. I think Steven actually points out that the Ennead graphic thing that they had wasn't showcasing all of the gods in the Ennead. So then maybe like him saying there's even more. I think that kind of implied that Khonshu and Amit were a part of that Ennead and everything. So yeah, so I think there was a whole thing where he killed the archaeologist at the dig site, but then I think what happened after that one, maybe if that kind of expedition was actually what kind of cost him his kind of life or his health or something, or if maybe that led him to where he actually would end up before he met Khonshu. No telling just yet, but either way, he got injured, he was almost dying, and then Khonshu found him and saved him, but then also kind of gave him new life and new purpose under Khonshu's kind of rule and his order and everything. So yeah, classic superhero stuff. So yeah, and yeah, speaking of other avatars and even potential candidates, as Khonshu so eloquently called her, we met Layla, the somewhat soon to be ex-wife of Mark's, and I think the divorce is literally only happening because he wants to protect her from all of this. He wants to keep her as far away from the Scarab stuff and the Khonshu stuff and the Moon Knight stuff as possible. And I think partially because of the Khonshu thing, Khonshu actively showing interest in her after him too, because then even because I think Arthur in trying to communicate with Mark, even he mentioned I think he mentioned with Khonshu there will always be one more mission, there will always be one more thing he asks you for. So I think for that one, I think Arthur kind of had two gripes with him. One of which being that he actually kind of still kind of asks you for stuff even after you give him everything that you want. I think with Khonshu, I feel like that might also be the way it works too, because then like based on how he found Mark too, I think he found Mark and he found Mark dying and gave him like a new chance. So then he kind of makes him indebted to him and everything. So then I think I don't know if he kind of if that's like genuinely the way he works, like if he actually exploits people who need something, or if he actually does kind of use it as a chance to be like, oh, so you were dying because you were only human, but now I give you my power, I give you my strength, I give you the ability to pass on my judgment and actually pass on my kind of rulings and everything. So then they become the Moon Knight. But either way, he has expressed very vividly that if he's ever unhappy with Mark, or if he ever actually feels like he's done with Mark, or if even if Mark feels like he's done with Khonshu and then he's happy to leave, then Khonshu is more than happy to move on to the next candidate, which is Layla. So he's also eyeing Layla like if the opportunity ever arises, or if he ever kind of runs out of other options with Mark, then he might just move on, or he might if he gets ditched, then he's definitely gonna move on. So, but then that does mean wonder, will would Layla then need to be injured for Khonshu to exploit that, or would he just kind of randomly approach her and be like, I need you to be my new kind of Moon Knight or something? So, I don't know. I mean, this is also like an origin story for Steven and Mark and any other identities that might be coming in his head too. I think it's like they're very likely gonna keep it so that they are Moon Knight, and like even with multiple identities kind of living in his body and his mind and everything, I think that they're gonna keep it so that he stays as Moon Knight and he remains as Moon Knight and everything. So but yeah, I think Layla seemed really cool. She seemed cool. I think she came in just in the nick of time. She saved him outside the storage unit place and took him home and everything. So she has been worried sick. Layla has been worried sick. I think he like changed his name. He moved to another. He ran away to another country. He changed his name, changed his identity, and started living as like a whole, like a literal whole other person. Like with Steven being inside him. So I think I'm kind of wondering then, because I think I mean, I think the way I kind of remember it happening in Iron Fist, because I think in Iron Fist season 2 that they had the other character played by Alice Eve, who also had DID. She also had dissociative identity disorder. But I think with her, she only had 2. She had one. I think I can't remember what their names were. But I think she had one. She had a mercenary too. I think with hers, one of her identities was either a soldier or a mercenary. But I think it was still like a fighter and like an actual survivor. And the other one was the actual kind of sweet and innocent kind of civilian that really took a shine to Danny and everything. So that one, but I think I vaguely remember in that one with her backstory, it was like they helped each other survive Sokovia, because I think they actually they tied the whole kind of Sokovia kind of battle from Ultron into that story too, and I think they both kind of survived Sokovia that way. But then I think I can't remember if the story in that one was that the trauma of Sokovia kind of forced her to split into 2 identities, or if something else happened, because I'm not even entirely sure if that's actually how it works, like if identities kind of split apart and then one becomes something completely different and then one stays original. Because then in this one, with the history that there is, I think it's kind of like for me kind of like the signs are pointing towards Mark being the original identity, and then Steven being the one that he kind of spawned after he moved to London and everything. So just kind of seeing like how that happens and how that kind of gets led into, and how that kind of like the kind of causality behind that too is like a really interesting kind of thing to look into and try to understand and everything. So with this one, I think because I'm wondering maybe if like he like did face something trauma, like maybe if being brought back to life was traumatic, because then maybe if he actually did die, or maybe if he was actually on the verge of death but then being brought back to life and making that deal was actually traumatic or something, and maybe then he kind of forced himself to go a different path, actually pretend to be someone else, but then the actual trauma of being killed or brought back to life or something, then maybe it made his alternate kind of identity kind of become that much more real, but then actually spawned someone as Stephen Grant, but then that identity and that kind of persona became so real they actually kind of did. Again, I'm not even like entirely sure if that's how it works. I'm not trying to dictate that's how it works or even actually say anything, but just kind of how I'm kind of just about trying to interpret the way that this is actually going. So Yeah, but later, I think, later, we were originally talking about it, I think, yeah, Layla was worried sick, and then she finally kind of gets a call back from Mark and everything, but then he's Stephen, and he's different and everything, so then she finally comes to London, and then discovers all this stuff going on, so, yeah, I think she still held her own, too, she still held her own, actually helping him escape from Arthur and his dudes and everything, and still tried her hand with the jackal too, actually getting the bottle and smashing it and stabbing it and everything, she still tried to kind of give it her and everything. So she survived. She survived. I think I feel like that's kind of more than what most could say. But yeah, she still kind of stood her ground and helped Stephen in whatever way she could. So that was cool. And then yeah, I think Arthur. We found out that Arthur managed to transform. I think like a part of London, like an actual kind of corner of London, like the corner of London that had the kind of the highest crime rate in the city as well. Like he found it deliberately. And he actually kind of recruited everyone within, and then he actually changed it. And he actually kind of boosted it a bit, and actually turned it into something a bit more brighter and a bit more diverse and a bit kind of better to be in. So I think that much is admirable. I mean, he is recruiting into a cult, so I think that kind of. Because I think again, like even the actual recruitment too. I feel like he is essentially brainwashing people too. Because I think even though his actual kind of staff power thing works too, is that he uses Army's power and judges on the future, judges the past, present, and future. So then if you've done bad stuff in the past, but then you've kind of earned forgiveness for it, then I don't know if that's mainly fine, or maybe but then if there's actually kind of bad stuff waiting for you in the future, then. Like that's how Army works. She takes out the threat before it can actually happen, which then Stephen so sensibly and so confidently actually kind of combats later on in the episode. So yeah, but I think that much about Arthur is actually could be seen as admirable too. I think that the fact that he actually did kind of try and do something that actually was actually agreeable and actually did seem somewhat more sensible, and actually trying to uplift a town and then try to uplift a corner of the city. And I think when you look at it like that too, like the corner of the city with the highest crime rate too, probably then a corner of the city that also very few people care about. So then people, I think, probably law enforcement don't really kind of care about it either. I think they probably use it as an excuse to arrest people or to do whatever they want, and then just like the general public kind of looks down upon it and kind of shuns that corner and is like, that's the corner we don't associate with, that's the corner we don't talk about or anything. So then I think Arthur kind of seeing and I think even him then saying that, like even the fact that this corner of the city is actually doing that much better now won't make it onto the news. It's not going to catch anyone's eye. It's not going to become citywide or nationwide news or anything, because then people still prefer to cling to their stories of pain and then suffering, and people still prefer to promote stories of negativity, because then those kind of are more eye-catching, and people are just kind of really cynical nowadays. So then they kind of prefer to focus on stories of suffering and pain and chaos and everything. So he just kind of took it upon himself, albeit through methods of cultish recruitment and brainwashing, to try and make the kind of town, the corner, a better place. And I think he definitely kind of can, in some ways, kind of join the group of villains that are kind of more greyish too. Because then again, he does deep down believe in punishing sinners, but then he believes in it through Army's way. He believes in it in actually taking out evildoers before they can do the evil deeds, and then that's exactly what Stephen actually combats too. Like him saying like it's a bit fucked up, like they're actually judging people based on what they haven't yet done. Because then it's like even his line of because then if you judge someone on something based on something they haven't done yet, then you're essentially judging an innocent person, like as someone who maybe has had evil thoughts, but then they either don't have the willpower yet to act on it, or they haven't acted on it. Like they've actually been trying to do something different about it, and like even Stephen putting himself onto that kind of offering table too, like even like I think about killing my boss almost all the time, but then he actually doesn't do it, because then he's not a murderer, he's not a killer, he's not evil. He just kind of he gets frustrated and he kind of vents in his own mind, and he actually just kind of envisions doing some random evil stuff. But for the most part, he is still kind of he is he is an incredibly sensible and calm and kind of civil and kind of well behaved kind of guy and everything, like, and he knows that, you know, like, thinking something is one thing, but then actually doing it is, you know, like, you know, again, actions speak louder than words, or in this case louder than thoughts and everything. So, you know, yeah, I think, but I think him in general, just actually questioning the actual logic and the actual kind of ethics and morality of the kind of justice system that Army operates on too. I think him even bringing in the age-old discussion of, like, oh, so, like, what if it's like a kid who is harmless at the age of 10, but then once they turn 30, they start killing people and wrecking shit and just being all genocidal and everything. So then it's like, you know, like, do you then still judge the kid because they might do something 20 years from now? Or, like, you know, do you actually take the time to raise them right and actually teach them, you like, right and wrong, and actually kind of instill like an actual kind of proper moral code? Because then that is probably what, you know, like, probably the kind of path that Khonshu would lean towards, because then his one, Khonshu, is also like the polar opposite of Armin, and and then Khonshu is the one who actually does wait to actually does kind of punish the evildoers after they've committed the sin, because then the sin has been committed, then they actually need to be punished, and stuff needs to happen. But then, of course, you know, even Arthur agreeing with Armin says that, you know, like by the time that happens, it's too late. People have already suffered. People have already died. People have already gotten hurt, and, you know, I feel like I think there's also, I think Civil War 2 follows that story too. I think in the comics, I think Civil War 2 follows that story too. I think there's like a hero, or there's an enhanced individual who has the power to predict tragedies before they happen. So I think one side then says that, oh, we should actually use this power to prevent any further tragedies from happening, but then the other side says that and also actually use that to arrest people who might be responsible. But then the other side says, oh, we can't do that because then, you know, that takes away the chance of us actually helping those people prevent those tragedies and actually helping them and changing them and do all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I think again, the whole kind of the discussion about the future potentially murderous kind of child thing comes into. I think also kind of very vividly reminds me of a line from Doctor Who as well. I think in that one, I've seen little kind of screenshots of like a certain Fourth Doctor episode where he has the power to touch two wires together and actually wipe out the entire Dalek race, I think it is, or like the Dalek race or some race, but then he can't do it because he kind of, you know, wonders, you know, like does he have the right to do this? Does he actually have the ability, like, does he have the right, like is he kind of right enough to actually kind of call judgment upon like an entire race like that? Because then he'd essentially be doing genocide himself. He'd still be wiping out, right or wrong, he'd still be wiping out an entire race and doing like a genocide himself. And then I think even he brings up the kind of that kind of argument of, like, you know, if you knew that a child years from now would commit like a deadly sin and then cost billions of lives, would you then be able to kill that child in order to prevent it? And I think they then re-explored that later on in like a 12th Doctor story where the 12th Doctor actually met Davros as a kid, but then in that episode he taught him mercy. He taught Davros mercy, and I think towards the end they revealed that the Doctor actually taught Davros mercy, and then that kind of allowed the Doctor and his friends to actually escape and everything. So yeah, I think that's the route they went down, because I think even then that tied in directly to the Doctor's kind of ethics as well. Like the Doctor is always the kind of person to give their enemies like an actual chance, and like actually kind of give opponents like the actual chance to walk away and to, you know, stop what they're doing and to actually kind of choose a better path and everything. So he they always kind of try and instill civility and kindness and redemption and stuff in whoever they're going up against. So I think that kind of whole that kind of whole kind of topic of discussion and argument too is just like it's just an age old one too. Like if you could go back in time and kill baby Hitler too. I think in Endgame they did that. Like, oh, why don't they just go back in time and kill baby Thanos and then nothing actually happened and everything. So that whole kind of discussion, like, oh, if you could kill a child to actually save millions of lives in the future that they end up destroying, then would you do it? So to see that kind of applied here, I think it definitely made sense too. Because then I think to like for them to show that I think it's also the kind of like smartest and I think the most kind of accurate way for them to show that Stephen actually is kind of listening to Arthur, and he actually is kind of taking in what Arthur is saying about Armit's ways and her logic and everything. But then him also being like, you know, I mean, I get you want to punish people, but then actually punishing them, on the one hand, punishing them before they do it is in its own way kind of fucked up, but then it's also doing like, how far back do you go, like how far, like, because I mean, so far I think even Arthur, like, that we saw, he only killed 2 people that were actually well into their adulthood and well into their kind of senior years and everything, like the old lady in Europe, and then even that guy who found the scarab too, like he killed him. But then I think those were grown adults who, one of whom had evil in their future, and then one of whom actually kind of may have also had the evil in their future and everything. So then I think we haven't seen them having actually used this argument to kill any kids so far. I think I'm hoping they don't show them like decimating any kids or anything. But then I think Stephen's still kind of actually taking that argument into account too. Like maybe like what if Army told you to kill kids in order to actually kind of save the entire planet or even like an entire country or something, like, then would you do it? Because then if you did, then that is kind of where he even him explicitly stating like, like that is kind of where I draw the line too. I mean, I can get why like what you're trying to do, like actually trying to save people and actually trying to kind of stop evil people, but then on the one hand you're judging innocent people, but then on the other hand it's like if you go so far as to kill kids just to try and prove a point, then that's where we kind of have to diverge and we can really not kind of agree on this kind of way of doing things. So yeah, Arthur had some very kind of complex and really kind of grey area kind of motives and kind of ways of viewing the world and viewing human morality and human kind of innocence in various kind of ways and everything. So yeah, it was interesting. But then yeah, we saw Mr. Knight too. Mr. Knight, I think I've seen people saying like, like that, like Mr. Knight in the comics. Mr. Knight in the comics is actually Jake Lockley, which is like another kind of third identity that the Moon Knight has and everything. So I think Jake Lockley is the official Mr. Knight in the comics. I think maybe he could be on the way. Maybe he could actually be on the way, and they might introduce him at some point soon, like maybe halfway through or something. So I think maybe the kind of introduction of like a brand new identity could be what like the kind of 4th or 3rd or whatever episodes are about. So I guess we'll have to wait and see. But I think I think even knowing that, I think I definitely still, even knowing that and then rewatching the fight scene with Mr. Knight, I still definitely enjoyed Steven's take on it, and I think I definitely enjoyed them actually using Steven to introduce her, because I think them starting off with that many identities in like to begin with, that I think would have been quite like an actual kind of like quite a bit to get through. But then I think them already having Stephen and Mark on their side, I think Mark then also being then confirmed through transformation to be the one of the Moon Knight, but then using Stephen, like even Stephen being told by by Layla and by Mark and by Khonshu to actually summon the suit, and then by the time he does summon the suit, he literally gets his own suit. He gets like an actual 3-piece with batons and everything, but batons he never fucking uses, but then he still gets his own kind of piece to actually rock and everything, and he gets the powers and the strength and everything, so he becomes his own kind of version of Mr. Knight. So I think by the end of the day, I think if they do use Jake Lockley to officialize Mr. Knight in this series, then I feel like Stephen might be, I think he might then get his wish, but then he might be the only identity living within Moon Knight that doesn't actually have that much of a connection to Moon Knight. He's just maybe he's just like the actual kind of civilian within that body, and then Jake is Mr. Knight, and then Mark is actually Moon Knight and everything. So then, well, when they need time to live as like an actual normal kind of grounded human being, then Stephen comes out and he gets to live his life and all that kind of stuff. But then still, that fight scene between Mr. Knight and the Jackal was great. I think Oscar Isaac's use as Stephen of British slang too, like his use of British slang, being like, "Oh, you're on the wrong ends, mate. This is my yard now." That was good. And even after he actually threw like a right hook at the the Jackal, was like, "Wagwan," and then it's like, like his just usage of that kind of vernacular, and him actually blending into the British, into the accent, the actual language, like the lingo, like the talk and everything. Like he actually, and again, like the more you go into it, like the more natural and fluid it does sound when he's doing the accent and everything. And again, like I said before too, Oscar Isaac himself is also no stranger to doing like an actual, even like an actual formal sounding British accent too. Again, go watch In Secret. Bit of an iffy plot, but again, Oscar Isaac and Elizabeth Olsen just marvelous in that movie. In Secret, I think they both do British. I think again, both French characters in a French kind of story and everything, but they both speak English, and then also doing formal kind of posh-ish kind of British accents and everything. But in this one, he's a Londoner. You've got the street lingo. He's just like a casual kind of informal kind of bloke and everything. Like he's just kind of fully leading into it. And he's like he's just kind of fully taunting and teasing. I think even he did the whole thing of like float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. My name's Stephen with a V and everything. Like that whole thing was really on point and everything. That was just hilarious to watch. But yeah, I think seeing him actually kind of standing his own ground too, because even then, like even Mark insisting like you can't handle this thing, you can't protect her, I can, you need to let me in, and then him being like no, I'm actually gonna give this a try, and I'm gonna show this thing I'm not to be trifled with either. Even if he's not an experienced fighter, he's gonna be like I'm gonna show this thing I'm not to be trifled with either. I'm still a force to be reckoned with. So then he actually does pump up some fists and throw some right hooks and does get some stuff going. And even though those two ladies seeing him dancing on the bus too, being like, oh, he's just a fancy drunk out on a typical night in London. So yeah, that kind of recognition, that kind of environmental analysis was very, very on point. So that was cool. So yeah, I think Stephen as Mr. Knight, for me it worked. For me, I still loved it. I still enjoyed it. It definitely felt like actually kind of somewhat fit, and actually kind of definitely seemed like a more informal and more kind of casual, more laid back version of what Moon Knight would be and everything. So that was still really cool to see. But then soon after that, Stephen does kind of let Mark back in, and then he actually does transform in public, and he actually does become Moon Knight again. So then that whole fight scene too, I think the music, the cinematography of that one, like the actual shot placement and the actual kind of visuals of him running on the skyscraper, like to the actual different positionings of the moon and the different appearances of the moon, like that whole thing, the music, the visuals, just him just like being Moon Knight and actually kind of outrunning a creature and then actually grabbing and then impaling it on the kind of tower spire and everything, just everything about that, just chef's kiss, just everything. So they did a really good job. With the music in this show so far. The main theme, the end credits theme for this episode, the end credits theme, the end credits kind of rap song thing they had going on, just loved it to bits. So I think that one definitely had a lot going for it and everything. So I think with this one going forward, it is definitely gonna amp things up and really kind of show things off a bit more. So yeah, really can't wait. I mean, one thing I can't help but think about is because I think before this, the only other kind of I don't know, like, don't know if you call it like, don't know if you call it religiously, because no one worshipped them as gods in that way. But I think the Egyptian gods had like an actual religion and like a culture centered around them and centered around worshipping them, and actually even in some cases fearing them. So I think before this, I think the only other kind of mythological kind of superhero kind of background or story we had was with Thor and the Asgardians and them being gods, but then them also them simultaneously being gods, but then also being aliens too. I think they were viewed as gods and idolized as gods within earthly and like within kind of Midgardian kind of culture and everything. But then in reality, I think they were still. I think in reality, I think they definitely did kind of count as aliens and as alien kind of beings and everything. But then even for them, they had their own kind of mythology and their own kind of history that they actually kind of created and actually kind of cultivated as actual lore and as actual mythological history and everything. But then that was realistically all we had before. But now with this one, we actually have like an actual Egyptian, like an actual Egyptian god being a thing in the MCU, and actually them, like, it's not like an alien. It's not an alien, not a creature from another dimension. But then, as far as we know, it is definitely the manifestation of an ancient Egyptian god who then imbues their power down onto a human. So it's like a human being empowered by a literal god. So then, kind of wondering how that might change the actual kind of fabric of the MCU as it goes forward too, because then they're not just going more cosmic with aliens and Eternals and all that kind of stuff, but now even in like one of the most kind of human stories they can do, they're still managing to incorporate something as actually groundbreaking and as kind of mind bending as ancient kind of human mythology actually being like a thing that can actually empower humans and imbue that kind of power and grant that kind of gift and enhancement and everything with Moon Knight. So I'm really curious as to how the series might progress in telling that kind of a story and actually kind of enhancing Mark and Steven and even potentially Jake as that kind of a character, and actually kind of enhancing Moon Knight as that kind of character, and actually kind of seeing where they take him in that sense, like if he actually sticks around to be Moon Knight, or if he actually kind of does kind of change. Maybe even actually try and change what it means to be Moon Knight too. Maybe if working with or for Khonshu proves to be too hazardous or proves to be too dangerous or too kind of too volatile, then maybe actually kind of fighting to get rid of Khonshu, but then actually still keeping the Moon Knight mantle, if that's even possible. But I don't know, because then I feel like maybe if they find a way to get rid, I think not kill Khonshu, like not literally kind of kill a god, but then maybe if they can find a way to sever the connection to Khonshu, or actually kind of send him away, and in a way that he doesn't bother them anymore, then maybe then the mantle is stuck with Steven. Maybe like Steven, Mark, Jake, like the actual mantle is stuck with them, mantle of Moon Knight. So then no passing the mantle on to any other candidates, and then the mantle is stuck with them. But then of course, if they can find a way to send Khonshu away, to stop bothering them, then maybe Khonshu disappears, and then maybe then that way they can still kind of somewhat kind of keep the powers, but then they no longer feel hounded or feel kind of like hunted or tracked by Khonshu anymore. So then maybe they also no longer feel attached or indebted to him in that way. So maybe that might be how the story progresses in that sense. So I guess we'll see. I guess we'll see. But then I think I'm really kind of curious to actually know how the incorporation of actual human mythology and religion and culture being empowered and being kind of uplifted in this way might impact that kind of idea of like an actual superhero existing in this way because of that. As well, because then humans also know about Asgard too. The humans know about Thor and then the Asgardians and like how that's like Norse mythology come to life. But then in that way too, it's also the fact that like Norse mythology in this universe is based on the fact that the Asgardians exist, and I think like humans back then didn't really understand how aliens worked, and they just thought they were gods from the heavens or whatever. So they actually kind of documented them down as Norse gods, and that's how Norse mythology came to be in the MCU. But now with this one, ancient Egyptian stuff actually exists and originated on Earth in Egypt. So then that kind of thing kind of proves that there are actually gods out there, and it's like it comes from the Egyptian side of things. So I think I'm really kind of looking forward to seeing how that kind of stuff kind of progresses and where that story goes. So yeah, that should be fun. And yeah, I think now going forward too, I think so now Arthur found the scarab, he has the scarab, so now he has that kind of connection and that kind of key to unlocking our meat, however he can, probably needs to get to the tomb. So then Mark did kind of give Khonshu the promise that, okay, now if they don't have the key, then they'll just get to Army's tomb first, and then protect the tomb and prevent Arthur and his kind of zealots from getting to the tomb and actually unlocking Army first. So now that seems to be the plan. So I think again, not too far into the season. So I think maybe now, it might still just kind of be before we unlock Army, we might still kind of explore what other gods there are and what they can do, and then if they can be brought to life, or maybe if protecting Army is actually like a more lengthy and more kind of endurance testing job than they actually kind of initially thought. And maybe if Layla can come back, because now Mark is in control, like now Mark is back in control and he's in Egypt. So then maybe now if Layla comes by now she'll be talking to Mark, she'll be talking to the Mark that she knows, and now she'll be in communication and in contact with him, while poor Steven is trapped away in his own mind and everything. So yeah, I guess we'll see. I guess we'll have to see. But yeah, I think that seems to be the route that things are headed in now. So yeah, and yeah, I think Arthur had that line too. I think like a really kind of like an actual kind of what felt to me like an actual hard hitting line too was the difference between poison and medicine is sometimes only the dosage. So I think that one too. I think that kind of had to tie into his whole I think that must have been his response to Arthur to Stephen questioning Army's kind of justice and like the logic of justice, and also like his concerns about judging innocent people on crimes they may or may not commit, but then also his thing about yeah, I think that might have come like just before killing children too, because I think killing children is the one thing like that no reasonable or civil person can really justify. So I think that line definitely had to come before he raised his concerns about actually killing kids too. So I think his line about that too. I think I think for him, like I think that ties into. I think it might tie into the idea of actually killing like an innocent person to actually save more people, because then I think so like the line was like sometimes the difference between medicine and poison is sometimes only dosage. So then if you do the right thing for the wrong reasons, then I think maybe then it still kind of balances out. But then if you do it, you know, because then if you like it's medicine is meant to heal and it's meant to kind of, you know, like to recover and revive. So then if you do the right thing but then do it for the wrong reason, or do it to the wrong do it for the wrong reason, I don't know. Well, if you do the wrong thing for the right reason, maybe if it's like poison, so then you're killing someone, but then you're doing it for the right reason. You're doing it to actually save lives later on down the line. Then maybe that's the difference too. Then maybe so then in that case, kind of poison is meant to be seen as good. But then because I think obviously poison and medicine are polar opposites. But then, you know, you're poisoning one mind to provide medicine for millions more. You're poisoning one being, you're poisoning one person, you're killing one person, then to then provide medicine, like to actually provide recovery and healing for millions more. So then I don't know if that's how you're meant to interpret it, but I don't know. It was a kind of like it sounded like a well crafted line and like a pretty well crafted response to Stephen's kind of concerns about it. So I think that may as well be, because I think so far Arthur definitely seems like not only a philosophical guy, but then he also did the, I think he seems like a predominantly philosophical guy, like in terms of actually kind of digesting and actually kind of passing on Armit's philosophy of judgment before innocence or anything like that. So then like I think in that sense he also may well kind of come up with other lines of actually kind of trying to justify exactly why this like maybe even actually justifying it with the actual knowledge that what they do is not necessarily kind of admired or even actually kind of looked up upon, but then like what he's doing can definitely be seen as, I think maybe that could be what he means too. Like maybe actually like what he's doing could be seen as poisonous, but then what he's actually doing is actually providing medicine for millions more to come, and actually trying to save the future, actually trying to save the world as well. So then for him, it's like, you know, like the difference between the two is only doses, and he kills only those who are, he kills not who he wants to kill or not who he deems worthy of killing, but then he uses Army's power and he kind of transfers Army's judgment onto these people, and then he kills whoever she deems as too dangerous to live or too deadly or too kind of potentially lethal or whatever. So again, it's still a very grey area. I'd say it's a very grey area, but with some dark spots that you can definitely kind of see if you're still kind of like against the most obvious things and actually against the kind of the act altogether of actually killing someone or killing anyone in the name of saving the world and everything. So definitely definitely a grey area with some dark spots here and there. But then I think it could kind of, I think in Arthur's case here, like I think his question would definitely be like, how much more are those dark spots worth to you than those grey ones, where you could actually kind of do the thing that I'm doing and actually try and save many more lives instead of actually going and actually like try and save many more lives instead of actually discussing the ethics of actually kind of killing the few evil to save the many innocent. So I don't know, but either way, I think he definitely he definitely has a way with words when trying to justify Army's kind of logic. So there's that. But yeah, that is pretty much all I've got from this one. I trust I went through everything. I think I feel like I actually do have a lot of ticks here, and he definitely kind of covered everything I feel like I wanted to cover. But if I did miss anything out, if you guys want to add any points of your own, I think that by all means, comments are open. Let me know what you thought and what your views are on the things that happened in this episode. But it was a great second episode, a really great second episode. So I can't wait to see what the third one holds and how that one moves forward with the story and everything. So yeah, I'm loving it so far. I'm absolutely loving Moon Knight so far, and I really can't wait to see where they actually take this and how they go forward with this and what it means for the future and everything. So it'll be fun to explore. But yeah, that was Moon Knight Season 1, Episode number 2. So thank you guys, as always, so much for being here and for watching this video. If you guys enjoyed it, then feel free to leave a like and comment on what your thoughts are on this episode, and what your theories are, and what you hope to see in the future, and how you think things are going to go. For those interested, full length reaction over on Patreon, so you can go check that out over there. And yeah, that is it for now. So until the next time, bye bye for now.